Have you ever imagined standing in a room full of international professionals? Every eye in the room is fixed on you, waiting for your response. You know exactly what you want to say. The ideas in your head are sharp, brilliant, and full of value. But the moment you open your mouth, your entire cognitive system crashes. Vocabulary completely vanishes. Grammar rules tangle up like a ball of yarn. You freeze. Your heart hammers against your ribs, and all you can squeeze out are a few broken, meaningless words, accompanied by a tight, embarrassed smile. Welcome to Learn English Through Stories, the easiest and most enjoyable way to improve your English naturally. If you have ever experienced that agonizing moment, I need you to stop everything you are doing and listen very closely to this. You have studied English for 5, 10, or even 20 years, yet you still can't speak with confidence? That is not your fault. You do not lack talent. You are not stupid, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with your brain. The truth is, you are the victim of an outdated educational system, a system that taught you to dissect English on paper like a mathematics problem, instead of teaching you how to live and breathe the language. Today, we are going to smash the invisible wall holding you hostage, and we are going to release your true voice to the world. Let us look directly at the bitter truth you experience every single day. You pour hours of your life into heavy grammar textbooks. You download app after app, writing down thousands of vocabulary words in bright, colorful notebooks. You turn on instructional videos, nodding along because you understand everything. You possess a massive treasury of passive English sitting completely dormant in your brain. You can comprehend a complex email, and you can listen to a native broadcast and catch the main points. But the tragedy occurs when the language flow needs to move in the opposite direction, when you actually need to produce sound. Meeting a foreigner asking for directions on the street, you avoid eye contact and walk away as fast as possible. Your boss asks you to speak up in an international meeting. You choose silence, passing up opportunities for recognition and promotion to people who might have less professional competence than you, but who simply dare to speak. Every single time this happens, you return home with a suffocating sense of helplessness. You torture yourself, you blame yourself, and a toxic voice takes over your mind. Maybe I am too old. Maybe I just don't have the language gene. Maybe I just have to accept living in this shell forever. Why does this happen? Why does all your hard work results in a flat zero? As someone who has spent over 2 decades studying the psychology of language acquisition at the world's leading academic institutions, I am going to show you the fatal flaw in your method. You are learning English completely passively. You are treating English like a history or geography class, storing data in your head just to pass a test. But language is not data. Language is a physical skill and a motor reflex, identical to learning how to swim or drive a car. Think about it. Can anyone on Earth become an Olympic swimmer by sitting on the pool deck reading books about arm strokes and analyzing water pressure? Never. If you do not jump into the water, if you do not accept getting water up your nose, if you do not let your muscles shake from exhaustion, you will sink. When you only listen and read without ever opening your mouth to speak, you are the person sitting on the deck watching others swim. You are accumulating theoretical knowledge while your mouth muscles, your vocal cords, and your neural reflex connections have not trained for a single second. The second enemy silently destroying your confidence is the illusion of perfectionism. From the time we are children sitting in classrooms, we are programmed to fear mistakes. Write one word wrong, you get a big red mark, accompanied by a critical look from the teacher and judgment from your peers. A survival instinct begins to form. To stay safe, it is best to do nothing at all. As an adult, that fear turns into a brutal censorship filter inside your brain. Before a sentence can even leave your mouth, this filter blocks it and demands, is the present perfect correct here? Is the preposition in or at? Is your pronunciation native enough? Don't say it. People will laugh at you. This harsh self-judgment chokes your fluency before the sound even breaks the surface. Communication is not a grammar test. Communication is a connection between human beings. The listener does not care if you use the wrong preposition. They care about the idea, the emotion, and the value you want to share. If you place perfection before connection, you will remain forever silent. Let me tell you the story of David, one of the students who makes me the proudest. David was an outstanding financial expert, incredibly smart in his field. He came to my office after being passed over for a major transfer to his company's London headquarters. The management's feedback was brief. Excellent professional skills, but English communication is too timid, cannot lead an international team.
When David walked into my office, he slammed a stack of English certificates with nearly perfect theoretical scores onto my desk. He said with a bitter voice, "Professor, I have stayed up until 2 a.m. every single night doing grammar exercises. I know every irregular verb by heart. But when I stand before foreign partners, I shake like a leaf. I feel like a fraud. I have all the credentials, but I have no voice. I want to give up." I looked at that stack of certificates, pushed them aside, and said, "David, starting today, we are going to burn your grammar books. You have spent 10 years accumulating knowledge. Now is the time to learn how to release it. We are changing the entire strategy." I forced David to follow a strict discipline based on the principles of biological reflex. Instead of making him study for 2 hours every evening, I cut the time down to just 20 minutes a day, but it was 20 minutes of maximum activation. I required him to use a method called reflex self-talk. Every morning, while standing in front of the mirror, shaving, or while driving to work, David had to act as a live commentator for his own life. He had to describe everything he was seeing and doing out loud in English, completely in English, without stopping to correct himself. For example, "Now I am making coffee. The coffee smells great today. The weather outside is raining. Traffic is definitely going to be jammed. I need to move fast." This forced his brain to build a direct highway from thought to mouth, completely cutting out the translation step from his native language.
The next step was more terrifying. I forced David to confront his greatest fear, the fear of being judged. I required him to join an international online debate community for English learners, where he had to voice his opinions on economic topics twice a week. The first week, David called me, his voice trembling with anxiety. "Professor, I stumbled 5 times. I forgot the word for inflation and had to use a childish explanation. I could feel everyone looking at me. I want to stop." I asked him a single question. "After you stumbled, did they kick you out of the room? Did they insult you? Did the earth stop spinning?" David was silent for a long moment, then replied, "No, actually, a friend from Poland messaged me afterwards saying they completely understood my point and wanted to discuss it further." That was the moment the curse broke. David realized that the biggest monster did not live in the outside world. It lived entirely in his own imagination. People out there were not as cruel as he thought. They just wanted connection. From that moment on, David stopped trying to be perfect. He accepted making mistakes. He accepted stumbling. He spoke with massive energy, and he focused entirely on making others understand his vision.
3 months later, the great turning point arrived. The London office had an emergency meeting and urgently needed an expert from David's branch to report data. The primary colleague suddenly fell ill. David stepped up to replace him, with zero preparation. He stood before the Zoom screen, facing senior executives in the UK. He had no time to think about grammar, no time to be afraid. He just stood there, looked straight into the camera,
and poured out his strategic analysis in a powerful, energetic stream of English. He used the wrong tenses 3 times and mispronounced a few words, but his confidence, his presence, and the sheer value of his words completely conquered the room. At the end of the meeting, the chief executive officer in London sent a direct message to David's boss. "We want David in London next month. He has incredible leadership energy." David won, not because his English had become as perfect as a dictionary, but because he turned English into a weapon of confidence. David's success story is not a fairy tale. It is a scientific formula, and that exact formula is in your hands right now. You do not need a massive amount of money, and you do not need to move abroad. You only need to make 4 powerful commitments starting tomorrow morning.
First, remember that small, daily consistency will absolutely crush grand but broken efforts. Never learn English in bursts, meaning you get excited and study 4 hours a day, and then do nothing for the rest of the week. Your brain needs repetition to create an instinct. 15 minutes of intense, passionate speaking every day is worth 1,000 times more than sitting in silence reading a book for 5 hours on Sunday. Make English a part of your breath, just like brushing your teeth every morning. Second, bury the habit of learning isolated vocabulary words. Learning single words is the fastest way to become paralyzed when speaking. When you learn the word decision, do not just memorize that single word. Learn the entire chunk to make a breakthrough decision. When you learn a whole phrase, you are loading prefabricated blocks of concrete into your mind. When it is time to speak, you just grab that block and place it into the sentence, instead of wasting time looking for individual grammar bricks to build from scratch. This will triple your reaction speed. Third, strictly apply the 80-20 rule to language. Drastically cut down your passive consumption time and maximize your active production time. If you spend 10 minutes listening to a dialogue, you must spend the next 20 minutes standing up, mimicking the intonation, the tone, and using your own body language to speak that content back out loud. Do not just be a spectator watching other people speak English. Be the lead actor on your own stage. Force your mouth to move. Force your brain to find the words. That is how neural connections are fired. Fourth, treat mistakes as badges of courage. The more mistakes you make, the closer you get to mastery. The only person who never makes a mistake is the person who never dares to try. Every time you speak incorrectly and realize it, or get corrected, your brain is upgrading its operating system. Be proud that you dared to speak imperfectly, because right behind those mistakes lies massive growth. My friend, every journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. The reason your English has not improved over the years is not because you are untalented, but simply because you have been walking down the wrong road. But the past does not define your future. Today, you have a choice. Continue to hide in fear, continue to stay silent and watch your life be limited by a language barrier, or stand up, choose the courage to speak, and embrace imperfection in exchange for ultimate freedom. You possess every single quality needed to become a fluent, persuasive English speaker. Believe in the power inside you. Step out of your comfort zone and take action right now. If this message touched the deepest corners of your heart and sparked a powerful flame of determination within you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a mindset-shifting lesson. Share your story and your commitment to action in the comments below so we can witness your transformation together. Your journey to conquer English and master your life officially begins this very second. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next chapter of your success.